All right, so good morning, everyone. I think I'm just there in between you and your lunch, so I'll try to wrap it up very quickly so that you can spend more time in lunch and networking and meeting people there. My name is Aman Sood. I'm from T-Motions Global Limited from London in the UK. So I'm going to talk about the opportunities and challenges which we'll have in next year in 2018 and especially in e-commerce. So it's pretty easy, if you just Google and try typing like trends in e-commerce, and you will see a lot of things, a lot of results, and you can make out. And I'm sure you must be reading a lot about all these things which are happening in e-commerce. Some are new, some are old, and the way you might have seen the things evolving in terms of the innovation and new tools, technologies, from cloud computing a few years back to big data a few years back, and then analytics and data science and artificial intelligence. I think everyone is talking about it, right? So obviously it will take a lot of time for me to go through all these things, and I leave it to you guys to do a lot of Google search and read about it, which is really good. But the basic question here is that why shall we worry about these things? Why should we spend time in learning what's happening in the industry? What's the new trend? What are the new opportunities? And what are the challenges we are going to face? And I think the answer is very simple, because some of the people in this room are businesses. You have your online shops, e-commerce stores, and I think some of the people here are the suppliers who are providing these services to the businesses. And the objective, the aim for everyone is same. You all want to have more sale, increase your number of customers. You want your customers to come back to buy from you, whether it's a product or a service. You want to increase your brand value. So it's adding more and more and more to your business. And how you do it, and how we all do it, is we work with our customers. We work with our customers to understand basically two things. One is what are their pain areas, which leads us to build the projects for them, to do the customization in their projects, which is like the change request in our projects. So we target, we understand, and we work on the pain areas of our customers. And we also work on their aspirations, the things which are not really a pain area, the business is as usual, what they want to enhance. They want to increase the number of customers, they want to increase the profitability, they want to increase the brand value of their online shops or e-commerce. So this is the reason why we work with our customers and how we work with our customers. Now if you put this in perspective in terms of your relationship with your customer, right, whether you are a software development company or whether you are an online shop or e-commerce company, let's try and put this in perspective. So our communication, our relationship with the customer is all about understanding their pain areas and their aspirations. If you just divide that into these four quadrants, right? So some of the requirements or some of the pain areas and aspirations which are on the top left, top right are pretty easy, right? We know what they want, and they know what they want. And this is the playing field, this is the arena where we play, and they give us the requirements and we deliver the system or the solution for our customers. And similarly, for the online shops and e-commerce, we know what our customers want to buy and we sell those things to our customers. The other quadrant here, which is interesting, is that customer knows, but we don't know. These are the requirement specifications. These are the customer requirements. They tell us, they ask us to build something for them. Right. The other one, which is we know but customer doesn't know. We go to the customer and propose something. There's a new thing coming in the market. Why don't you use it? There's a new technology. Why don't you integrate it to your systems? And customers might be hesitant in the beginning, but they understand the value creation out of these ideas and these thoughts, and they go ahead with these projects and assignments. And this is where we have to look forward. This is where we have to look forward in terms of what are the new things which are coming in the industry, what are the technology changes which are having in the industry. The dangerous part up here is that we don't know what the customer needs, and even customers don't know what they need, right? So this is like the gray area. This is where we have to work out. So I've taken this concept from a technique which is usually used to understand the human relationship with your relationship with yourselves and your relationship with others. And this is called, I don't know whether you have come across, if you put these blocks together, this technique is called the Johari window. Anyone heard about this before? So this is kind of invented by two guys, Joe and Harry, in about 1957, I think. And a lot of institutions, a lot of consulting organizations, a lot of educational institutions, they use this technique to understand the relationships between us and other people, or between us and our customers. And the whole objective of this window, this Johari window, is to increase that arena, kind of enlarge that, the arena where we know what customer needs and customer knows what we need, and try to minimize this gray area, which is we don't know what customer needs and they also are clueless what they need. So a lot of communication, feedback, requirement understanding, what the future is, can increase this playing field, this arena. There are other factors which you can take in place when, which is the third element to this, is that what others are doing, what your competitors are offering. So there could be things which and you can offer to your customers, and the customers require those things, but there are 150 other things which other people, your competitors, other companies are doing. So what I'm trying to say here is that, if you put all these things into perspective, you will realize that this is the time that we need to understand, we need to move forward, we need to understand where the industry is going, where the technology is going, and educate ourselves, learn about all these new opportunities and challenges which we are going to face in the future. And what we are talking about is that taking these small steps, bringing all these things into our projects. Small steps, few things we will be doing this year, few things we will be doing next year, few things we will be doing 2 years down the line. And a lot of companies, I mean, in these 2 days conference, you will see that in a lot of organizations and companies and individuals are doing stuff like artificial intelligence, like machine learning, big data, et cetera, and a lot of you must have already taken yourselves into this journey of innovation and improvement. But I want to give a slightly different thought to this today, if you allow me. I want to take a different look, which is more like a bigger leap. So let's not talk about what's happening in 2 years and 3 years time. Let's talk about what's happening in like 25 years time. What's happening in 20 years. So if you see this, what has happened so far in the last 25 years? The last 25 years, the technology has changed exponentially, and we all know about it, right? We are into it. We are into this technology change, from telephones to mobile phones to smartphones, from televisions to online videos and stuff, from automobiles to the self-driving cars. So all these things have been changed in the last 25 years. But what has happened in these last few years is that the other things, the humanity part of the change, didn't keep pace with the technology change. So every year, every month, every day, there is a new thing coming up. There was a Siri on iPhones, then there is a Alexa on Google, on Amazon, then Google, and then Microsoft, and everything is coming up with something new. But our social changes, our business changes, our political changes, our humanity is also growing, but in a different pace. What we are doing is we are putting technology in everything. We are putting technology in our human lives. We are putting technology in the humanity. But I think now it's the time to think ahead and putting the humanity into what we are doing. Putting this humanity back into the work which we are doing. And let me explain this. What I'm trying to say here. If you see this chart, you might have seen this already, but this is what has happened, in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, the top companies in terms of their market cap were the companies into automobile, the companies into manufacturing, the companies into banking, British Petroleum, oil, etc. And what has happened now? The top companies are all technology companies. You have Apple probably sitting on the top in terms of the market value, market cap, Alphabet, the Google company, Microsoft. So this is the trend we have seen in the last 10 years. And just imagine the trend which will happen in the next 10 years or 20 years or 25 years. And the interesting part is that, this is in a survey done by S&P, is that the 75% of the companies which are operating now will not be there, will vanish. And the 50% of the companies which are going to take over, they haven't born yet. Google was not born a few years back. Even Facebook was not born a few years back. WhatsApp was not there. There are companies, there are 50% of the companies taking over these 75%, which we don't know. We have no clue about those organizations or their projects or their products. And the machine learning, the artificial intelligence, and all the buzzwords you hear is taking over. Is doing all that stuff. And you might have seen, I don't know how many of you are from America. This is a very popular game, Jeopardy, is which comes on the television. This is, I think, 4 years old, or 3 or 4 years old, when IBM, they planted their artificial intelligence computer, Watson, to play this game. And Watson won. And Ken and Brad were two of the champions. And this was kind of an eye-opener, that how the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the technology, the programming is taking over the skills, taking over the expertise. And that's what has been happening. That's what has been happening in the last few years. Initially, when we got into the computer era, we got into the information technology era, the knowledge has been commoditized. And what's happening now, it's more of a expertise which is being commoditized, right? So this is changing very fast. If you think about it, like, at this point of time, or even in the past, you have the skills like you have nurses, you have teachers, you have those kind of people. They are like at this level in the industry, and you have like doctors, you have oncologists, you have accountants, lawyers. They are up here. But slowly, what's happening is that all their expertise are being digitized, or their expertise are being automated. And slowly, you will see this shift, the shift of the human part of it, that this side of the brain, will take precedence, will take more value, will have probably 200% more valuable than the technology, than the artificial intelligence. And that's what I'm trying to explain here, that we can, or we are automating one side of our brain, the right or left, whichever you look at it, which is the expertise and knowledge and skills. But the other side of the brain is more about the touch, the feel, the affection, the humanity, which is not automating, and it will never be automated. So when we look at e-commerce, when we look at nopCommerce, when we are looking at what we are doing in the next 4 years, 5 years, 2 years, let's also think about the human aspects of all this technology change, all this digitalization. And this is happening because of the disruption. This is happening because the things are changing very fast everywhere, and you have seen this. Banking, the new concept of open banking is coming in, I think, next year or so. Transportation, cars, pharma, and especially in our sector, retail and e-commerce. Probably it's not in that speed or that pace as compared to other industries. We are still using the same shopping cart, putting things online, doing the payment gateway, and so on and so forth. But still, it's changing the way we have been buying things online 10 years back and the way we are buying things online now. Amazon has adopted all these changes, and they are moving very fast. Probably why they are overtaking a lot of other small online businesses. And if you don't move, if you don't transform yourselves, if you don't keep pace with these businesses, these technology transformations, it's very difficult to survive as the business. And all these businesses which were probably number one at one point of time and couldn't survive. Kodak couldn't survive. Probably, I think they thought that their business is making films, making cameras. but they didn't understand probably that the business was, it was more like the moments, the memories. And Instagram kind of took it over. Instagram, you share your moments, you share your feelings, you put this smiley and you like the picture and so on and so forth. And the similar thing happened with all those companies, who couldn't survive this fast-paced transformation of technology. And the way that technology has taken over the industry is entirely, you know all about this, right? Is entirely different. And we talk about, for example, Airbnb, one of the largest chain of, where you buy, where you rent properties and hotels and apartments, and they don't own any. Uber, #1 fleet of cars, and don't probably own any car. So this is the technology change which is happening. Amazon probably has started now. I heard that in New York and USA, their shops, but they were selling books online. So what I'm trying to say here in a nutshell, that is anything and everything which can be automated will be automated. And this is happening very fast. This is happening very fast in our e-commerce industry, and this is happening very fast in all other industries. But at the same time, anything and everything which cannot be automated will not be automated. And that is the humanity part of our lives. That is the trust, that is the empathy, that is the imagination, the affection, the love. These are the things which probably will not be automated in the next 20 years or 25 years or 50 years, at least 100 years. And these will have a lot more value, maybe 200% more value than the things which are being automated, which are our skills, which are our expertise. So I just wanted to put these few slides in my presentation to give you a little bit of a context that yes, we are talking about change. In today and tomorrow, we will be in a lot more presentations here, and we will be talking about all these technologies, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, etc. But give it a thought. Think about the things which are not being or will not be automated. That's very, very important. So we looked at we always should be looking at the telescopic picture, the things which will happen in the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. But at the same time, we can't avoid having the microscopic view of our projects, of our lives, of our businesses, the things which we are doing today, the things which we will be doing next month, next year, or in maybe next 2 and 3 and 4 years. And that is where I'm coming back to my slide. The previous slide is that this is what we are doing in e-commerce. These are the new trends. These are the new things. And I haven't put everything in here, but I'm sure you have heard, or or you are reading about these things on Google or watching YouTube videos like I do a lot to learn about these things, especially in e-commerce arena. So let me talk about a couple of these. Obviously, I won't be able to talk about everything, and I think you know about some of these things which are happening, especially the unified commerce. How many of you, if you just raise your hands, are doing something about this unified commerce? What is it? Yeah. So what is happening in e-commerce? This is the way the e-commerce is growing in the last few years. From a single channel online sales, multi-channel to unified commerce. Single channel, most of the companies selling shoes online, one website, one store, and one inventory, one stock control, and selling online. And then we started selling through multi-channels. We are selling those shoes through our online shop, and we are also selling those shoes through our mobile app or Amazon or Facebook. And then this new concept of omni-channel came up in the last couple of years. We're selling your shoes everywhere. One button click and your shoes will be displayed on Amazon.com and Google shopping list and your mobile phone and everything here. And the next generation, the next change which is happening very fast is the transformation of the business systems. which is more like a unified commerce, and I'll explain this to you in a minute. In the context of nopCommerce, we are working with all these projects at the moment. A lot of our customers and a lot of our new customers are asking about this. They don't want to maintain different systems for their CRM, a different system for their inventory, or stock control, or warehouse management, etc., etc. They all want to bring everything in one place. Whether it's a product database, whether it's a customer database, whether it's their transactions or the orders, or one button click. Everyone wants that. A lot of inquiries we have, and I'm sure you must be working on the integration between the point of sale system to nopCommerce. So they have a physical shop where the point of sale systems are taking orders and selling. They have online shops. They don't want to maintain two different inventories or stock control. They don't want to maintain two different pricing models, at two different places. So all these things the customers want to put together. And it's not only just the sales channel, which are mobile, Google, or point of sale. It's also about their other systems, which I've just displayed here on the right-hand side. Financial applications, accounting systems, and then the contents which they are collecting on the nopCommerce, on the e-commerce. They want to integrate with the content distribution side of it. There could be other websites and portals they have where they want to display the information about their products. It's not necessarily online shop. They want to print brochures of their products which are there in the catalog, and the contact center, the call centers want to use this information, and all the social media. We have people saying that I add a product to my nopCommerce product catalog, and with a button press I want to display the same product on my Twitter with a short description, a new product from this new show launched, and same on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Snapchat or Instagram. So all this integration together, we give it a name like a unified commerce. The beauty of nopCommerce is that it's all, as I have tried to depict here in the picture, is surrounded by this API, web services, and it's very easy for you to integrate. You can use what we are trying to use here is the multi-shop, feature of nopCommerce. So creating this as a like a virtual another shop on a nopCommerce engine, and use that as a integration to your point of sale system. So this is one of the things. I think I'm not sure whether you have come across these requirements from your customers, but many customers are now talking about unified commerce, connecting everything together. And there's one more element which we have added to this is the unified communication. You might have seen a lot of online websites. They have a little box underneath. Click here to send a message, ask a question, from the buyer. And we have integrated, or right in the process of integrating another tool called a product from a company called Solberry in the UK, and where we are integrating their unified communication tool to an nopCommerce engine. So the customer can not just ask question, do the online chat, but even do the video call, with the seller, or do the phone call with the seller through the laptop or through the computer. The other thing which we are doing with this integration is the AI part, the artificial intelligence part, the analytics part of these conversations, which your customer is having with you. So all the phone calls, all the video calls which a customer is having with the seller or a customer service are recorded as audio files, and this engine then analyzes those voice files and detects the words which are most commonly used. So for example, if you are getting a lot of phone calls that when is iPhone 10 arriving, iPhone X arriving, etc., etc. So you can generate the analytics from this tool that the iPhone 10 appeared 237 times, 80% more than any other word in the conversation, which means there's a lot of demand of iPhone 10. Or in the customer service, my battery life is not good. A lot of people complaining about that, and you can pick that from the audio files. So these are the integrations. Again, coming back to this slide, is happening as a part of the unified commerce. And I think with 4.0, with the .NET Core and everything else, nopCommerce will be at a leading edge in terms of providing these unified commerce features to the customers. The other things which are happening, and you might know about this, is a lot more interaction between the seller and the customer. What we were doing conventionally, we have a shoe which we want to sell online, we put it on the website. We put a short description of the shoe, the large description, the pictures, the size, the color which is available, and we expect customer to read that, to find from the drop down select size 8, sorry it's out of stock, select size 7, put it in the shopping basket. And you might have seen certain videos with the integration of this Internet of Things, IoT. The e-commerce is also changing. I mean, you think about this. The people are now so lazy. They don't want to get up from the sofa to switch on the light, or change the channel of the TV. They are all Alexa. Have you used any of you use Alexa, one of the AWS Amazon product? So Alexa, turn my TV on. Alexa, turn my lights off. I mean, do you think those customers will go and get on to their laptop and search for shoes, and then size 7 and the color black, and then put on the shopping basket, and they click 7 buttons and then make the payment, and then they are asking Alexa, and Alexa has started doing, or Siri or Google has started doing these integrations with a lot of shopping online shops. So Alexa, please repeat my last month's Walmart order for grocery. And Alexa says, yes, I've put it on the shopping basket. Do you want to check out? Yes, done. You will get the order, Or Alexa, is there iPhone X available on this particular website? Alexa will say, there are 3 in the stock. Better you order now. So these are the things which are happening and will happen. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you who are providing e-commerce services to your customers will ask about this. Can you integrate these things? Can you integrate these plugins with my online shop? I want to use this technology. Virtual assistants. So again, I mean, would you ask these Gen X people, Gen Z, the new generation people? They don't want to spend time. They have given up their laptops already. They are on a mobile phones now, and I'm pretty sure they're going to give up mobile phones in the next few years. They want something new. They wouldn't spend time reading the short description and the large description of your shoes which you are selling online. And there are a lot of companies which I've just play this example for you. I hope the sound works here, is here.
What's up? I'm Hannah, and this is Era from Vans Kids. Here we have a clean canvas appa with a lace-up closure for a nice secure fit. There's also a padded collar for a little bit of extra comfort around the heel and ankle. Now inside we do have a wonderful textile lining with a cushioned footbed, followed by...
I'll just stop it here. So this is what I'm trying to say. You want to hear that, you want to see that, the short description and the long description of the product. And this is what a lot of companies are now integrating with their online shops. And the other thing, I've taken these video clips from the YouTube, by the way. The other thing which is happening a lot in the e-commerce arena is the chatbots. I'm sure some of you or most of you have heard about it and have started integrating to your online shops. This is another example, where you are having an interactive chat with the machine, not with the human, about the products. So there are these tools and technologies now available in the market whereby you can integrate these things with your online shops and give your online shops, give your projects the next generation look and feel, the next generation technology transformation. So this is what I was thinking, to cover in a few minutes which we have, but there are all other things. There is a lot of things happening in artificial intelligence. I don't know whether you're data sciences. A lot of you must be using, we are using Microsoft Power BI tool to integrate with the nopCommerce, with the nopCommerce, and generate the beautiful dashboards and reports for our customers. Machine learning, all these chatbots, etc., are based on this machine learning technology. So what we need to do at this point of time is to make ourselves aware, read more about it, Google about these things, watch YouTube videos, best thing to learn. Blockchain, I don't know how many have you heard, there are hundreds of articles on blockchain in e-commerce. How blockchain is going to impact or affect the e-commerce in the future. So I will now come to another topic in the interest of time is the challenge. So other than these opportunities which we are having, other than the new technology transformation which we are having, there are challenges we are going to face in the industry. How many of you, let's stretch your hand, how many of you know about GDPR or heard about it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, very good. And so GDPR is simply is a general data protection regulation of European Union, EU, including UK. How many of you, sorry, I'm stretching your hands again, how many of you are from Europe or UK or just 1, 2, 3? Yeah, and so you know that there's a lot of buzz in Europe, in the UK, in EU countries about this GDPR compliance, right? Now, those who are not from EU, those who are from America and other countries, how many of you have their the systems or the applications which has got customers from European Union, EU? So you must be a website in the US. I was talking to the faculty of the Harvard Business School yesterday, and they said we are not EU, it's not impacting us. But hundreds and thousands of their students are from European Union. So all this GDPR, which is all about the protection of the personal information of your customers, which you hold in your systems, whether they are online shops or databases or spreadsheets, CRM systems. So it's only about the personal information. It's about the name, the age, gender, telephone number, address, and IP address. That's it. And this new regulation, which is taking effect from, I think, 25th of May next year. It started 2 years back. They are saying that you cannot simply hold information about the EU customers in your databases or systems. You have to tell them why you are holding the information. And there are 20 different things they are imposing on the businesses. And a lot of businesses already now making changes, doing this transformation to become compliant to GDPR. And those who are not doing it, I think there are about 50-50 at the moment in European Union countries. There are 50% companies who are already working on it. There are obviously large enterprises. There are other 50% who are taking it a bit slow. They're thinking, let's see if they give some relaxation in the rules, because the impact is huge. One simple thing companies and people ask, what if you don't do it? What's the fine? What is the penalty? So I was reading this, the latest one at the moment on their websites is that they will charge you the penalty is 4% of your annual turnover. That's the maximum, or maximum up to 20 million euro. That's the penalty. Small customers who are making, like, let's say 100,000 euro in a year, might be thinking that I better pay 4,000 euro penalty rather than spending 8,000 euro to do all these changes and fixes. That's a bit of a debate which is going on at the moment in the industry. Shall we do it? Shall we not do it? But obviously, the large organizations, of 100 million euro, 10 million, 20 million euro revenue or annual turnover, they definitely will have a big hit on their spreadsheets if they are getting this penalty of 4%. So what exactly it is, there's a lot of information available. Again, I'm saying this on the internet. Just search for GDPR. Just go to the official website, which is ico.org. And they have given all these instructions, what exactly you need to do to become a GDPR compliant. These are the first 12 steps you have to take. And some of these are very relevant to e-commerce. And that's what I'm going to focus on today. I think I'm running out of time. Okay, so one is the consent, right? And the other one is about the data. the personal information, the database. And let me take you through there. You can read about these on online anyway. One thing which we have to understand in the GDPR is that what's our liability, who we are, because half of the room here are businesses. You have your online shops, and probably half of the room here are suppliers. You are software development companies, or you are hosting companies. You both have liability, you both have responsibility to be GDPR compliant if you are holding information and data of European Union customers in your databases or applications, right? So the businesses, you are the controllers of the information, you're collecting that information. So user registration form in a nopCommerce page, you collect that information, name, address, gender, telephone number, etc., right? And then what you do with this information? You send newsletters, or you give this data to somebody else to send the newsletters. So you are the controller and the processor, both of this information. Whereas if you are a software development company, if you are nopCommerce, if you are like T-Motions, my company, what we do is we don't collect the data, but we are the processors of that data. We are doing it on behalf of the customer. We are storing it in our databases, in our test environment, in our dev environment, in our production environments, in Excel sheets in our computers, or CSV files. So we both have responsibility to be compliant to the GDPR. So it's not only, so if you develop an online shop for a company, it's not only just their responsibility, it's your responsibility and liability as well to become compliant to this. And especially, let's see, from the e-commerce perspective, it's very simple and easy to understand how GDPR is going to impact e-commerce, because we know the process, and the process is same everywhere. You have customer registering on your website, buying things, shopping basket, and the customer information remains in your user tables if you are using nopCommerce. So you can list down, you won't be able to read or see this, but the GDPR obligations and liabilities, you can make a list which is readily available, what exactly you have to do. And I'll give you a glimpse of in the context of nopCommerce, in the context of online shops, e-commerce, what exactly I think you should be, or business should be doing. First and foremost, it's very important to get the assessment done by somebody with a knowledge of GDPR, like GDPR consultant. There are no GDPR qualified professionals available because there is no professional body at the moment. But you will have a lot of people, or you can do it yourself with the knowledge of GDPR assessment done, because it's not only about the e-commerce, it's not only about the personal information you're keeping in your nopCommerce user databases, user tables. It's a lot more you're doing in your company. You're keeping it in your spreadsheets, as I said earlier. The other thing is to understand what is the customer data, what is the personal information. So it's not about the transaction history, it's not about the order history. It's all about name, address, telephone number, etc., etc. One of the things which will be very important for all of us to do is to change the user registration process, change those forms of user registration to make those GDPR compliant. I'll show you that example in a minute. The other thing which we are doing, and a lot of customers would need to do, is the encryption. So GDPR says that the personal information flows from your form, from the user registration form to the database, has to be encrypted, like your passwords are. So if you're using SSL, etc., or encryption. The other thing which it says that in the database, in your SQL server, it should stay as in the encrypted form. You should not be run, if you know SQL, select star from user table and display all the names. It should be displayed in encrypted form like your passwords are displayed. But when these names and addresses are displayed on your application, then obviously they are decrypted back and displayed. So think about this change which you have to bring into your systems to make this encryption, decryption happening. The data in your development environment and your test environment, and if those who are into development, what you do is you take a copy of the live database, put it in your test environment to do the testing, take another set, put it in your dev environment, in your computers, in your developers' machines. So that has to be avoided. You can copy the data, you can do that, but not the personal information. You have to decrypt, encrypt it, or do something about it. The other thing which is about the consent, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about that. That's the most important part in our e-commerce applications. One of the things which they say is that you all need to have, the businesses need to have a data protection officer, and the large organizations need to have a permanent employee as a DPO. Small organizations can use like a freelancers or a contractors as a DPO. This is another thing which is a bit of a headache for a lot of companies. And obviously you need to have all these policies and processes in place, like you have private policy on your website, you have disclaimers on your website. So those need to be looked at, revised and reviewed to make them GDPR compliant. Especially on the consent part. Let me show you this very familiar screen you already have seen in nopCommerce. So you simply have, this is where you're capturing the personal information, and that's the consent you are asking people. So subscribe to newsletter, you tick, right? And what you do then, you send your newsletters, you send some other promotional stuff, you send your partners newsletters to the same email addresses. This is going to be changed. This is the major change in the user registration form. So what you need to have is to explicitly define, explicitly take the consent of your customers, that how and where we will be using your personal information. We will be sending you these kind of newsletters, we will be sending you these kind of information, we will be sharing your data with these companies, and that has to be explicitly defined in your user registration forms, right? And customer has to tick and say, yes, I want to. It won't be the other way around, that if you don't click on this button, which means you'll start getting your newsletters. That's not going to work. It has to be explicitly defined for the consumer to select those options, right? And more importantly, if I take you to the next one, this is another familiar page you have, right? Where the customer logs in and see my account. These pages are also demanding a lot of changes. GDPR says that a customer, when logs in, he needs to have a delete me button, a functionality in your nopCommerce or eCommerce, where a customer may choose and ask you to delete all the personal records from all the systems you have. And think about that, how would you do it, right? You have to ensure the customer, yes, we have deleted all your information, your personal information from our all the tables in the databases, from the spreadsheets we were having, from our CRM system, etc., etc. And then think about the technical challenge you have. After 2 months, the customer says, "Oh, I had placed an order, transaction, refund. What's happening?" You have already deleted your data. So there are ways to do that. What we are trying to do here is we are providing a feature whereby we will tell customers, "That's fine. We will delete your data, but this is your token ID. This is your ID number. If you want to come back again, tell us your ID and we'll reactivate you as a user. We will not delete your transactions. We will not delete your order history. That will remain there." The consent audit trail has to be built into this page. So if I'm a user, I log into my account and I can see that on this date I had given a consent yes for this particular distribution, allowing to use my data. On this date I have taken the consent back, in this date I have given the consent again. So this audit trail of this consent has to be built somewhere in our applications, in our e-commerce systems. So that's going to be obviously a lot of work. And the another thing which you will see when you see all the GDPR document is they say that you have to explicitly define where your information is being used, to a level where a lot of companies are now keeping an audit trail, that this date we sent you a promotional letter. On this date we used your personal information to send you another letter which was from our partner company or sister concerned company. So all these audit trails need to be maintained into the application. So a lot of companies and including us, we are working with our customers. We are working on writing a plugin for nopCommerce to enable the GDPR compliance for the European customers, or making these changes. A lot of customers are actually trying to do is to moving their customer database from their systems to a third party, to cloud. AWS Cognito is one of the service. So they don't want to hold. They say, we don't want to hold your personal information. You outsource it to AWS Cognito. Let them worry about the GDPR compliance. When you log in, the login is authenticated from the from Cognito. It will pass us a token, and then we will only keep the ID, the customer ID. We will not keep the customer name and telephone number and email address in our systems. So that's another way a lot of companies are doing, is to outsourcing the identity management or the user management to the third parties or bigger players who are presumably already GDPR compliant. So in a nutshell, that's what it's all about. A lot more power, a lot more privilege is being given to the customer as a consumer to tell them where their personal information is being stored, used, changed, etc. And this brings in all these changes and the transformations in our e-commerce applications, including the applications which are based on nopCommerce. So I think I'm right in time for the lunch, maybe. I wanted to do it 10 minutes early, but so just to recap what I was, the way I started in the beginning and the way I maneuvered this presentation is that let's be aware of what's happening in the industry. Let's be aware of those trends, because our customers need it. If we don't provide, if we don't offer these things to our customers, somebody else will do it. If we don't keep pace with the technology change on our online shops, some other online shop will become go ahead of us in terms of the competition. So that awareness, that education, that adoption of this technology transformation is the key message from here. At the same time, let's not just think about 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Let's think about a bigger picture. Let's think about what will happen in next 25 years, what will happen when our children, our grandchildren will grow and use this technology. That is where we need to think about all this element of humanity, which we have to put back into the technology, the things which will not be changed, the things which will never be changed. I must give a credit to some part of this presentation to a gentleman called Tariq Qureshi. If you ever go online on the TED Talks, which I learned from him a couple of weeks back in Dubai, all this conversation of the humanity and the technology transformation. Then we talked about this, the things which we are doing in terms of the transformation and technical changes and some of the projects we are doing, and this challenge which we will be facing in 2018. There are a lot of people, as I said, are hoping that there will be some relaxation, some changes, but at this point of time there is nothing. So we have to gear up, even if we are not in the UK or European countries, even if we are in America or other countries, and if we are holding the personal information of European customers, we must look into it. We must at least be aware of these regulations. So we have so T-Motions, we are one of the gold partners of nopCommerce. We do online shops. We do mainly B2B projects for our customers. We do bring in all these innovation and changes in their businesses. And we also have another organization called GDPRtechies.com. I haven't put it in here, which is consulting and the technical work around GDPR, especially for the e-businesses, online businesses. Thank you very much, guys.